So the Hall of Fame. So in 2021, they are planning to induct obviously the 2020 class from last year and a new class of wrestlers. But I feel that they're going to start running out of names surely to induct soon, because obviously after the obvious people like Undertaker, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H individually go in, like surely they're going to have to start looking at the kind of active roster, people like Randy Orton. And, where does it, should the Hall of Fame maybe take like a year off every now and again? Should it, have induct less people maybe every year?
Less would be my answer, because it's I suppose you know my opinions. The Hall of Fame now, it's become a bit of a farce now. The fact that people are going in it twice now is just it's it's making it rubbish. So to put it politely, the fact that people are going in for more than one thing, it's going to get to a point where people are going to go in for 3 times now.
Yeah.
Do you think Ric Flair is in it on by himself as well as the Horseman? And you got to think Evolution is definitely a Hall of Fame worthy
Yeah,
group, 100%. You got to think by that point, Ric Flair will be a 3-time Hall of Famer. But that's crazy to think that's actually going to be a possibility. And you got to think each member will go in individually by themselves as well.
Yeah.
And you can also therefore include
Triple H.
the fact that Triple H is
DX.
already in it as part of DX, and the fact that he's booking himself to be in the Hall of Fame is kind of devaluing it. And again, like being a bit more in the loop and a bit more in the know and how it all works, it's
surely Triple H has to be inducted, I guess, by like Vince at least. I guess. I mean, like, or chosen to go in by Vince. I don't.
Obviously, yeah, Vince has to be the one that has to be like, no, I'm the one that's gonna say you can. But this is why I think the Hall of Fame is the reason why we're seeing a lot of people jump from one company to the next. Because only what they've got left in their career is the Hall of Fame. But when the Hall of Fame is becoming a farce, it's kind of like, well, everyone's got to wear a tuxedo and women have got to wear a dress up, and you got to dress up for a ceremony that it's not really your control that you're in. Like, you can be the best worker, you can be the most charismatic, you can be the most over mid-card act, main eventer, whatever ultimately justifies you to be in it. But ultimately, if just someone from the office just says, you know what, you're not in, or you're going to be in, it's just becoming a bit of a farce, especially when we look at legit sport Hall of Fames, and it's like, this is the criteria, and when the criteria is now blurred because it's not necessarily what ultimately, I think the basic criteria has to be for the era that you worked in. You was what made that division perfect. Like, bless Tori Wilson for the backlash she got for being inducted, but look, for that era and her role, it was kind of perfect.
Yeah, in terms of the opportunities given to women at the time, that was all they were given. And she was the best at doing it, really, along with obviously people like Dawn Marie and Sable, I guess, before her.
But in terms of like you can only sort of make lemonade out of the lemons you've got. So
yeah, I mean, it's like with Ultimate Warrior, like he couldn't wrestle. Like, everyone knows that he couldn't wrestle, but for his era, his time, like no one was as over, definitely in the kind of 88 to 90 kind of period, when we're talking about where he was champion and stuff, like no one was as over as he was. So yeah, it's difficult. I feel they should start doing less, like maybe 3 people per year.
Well, I've noticed, if I quickly can just grab it for you, that it seems like, especially as we go more towards 2015 onwards, okay, so you've got like your individuals, your groups, your warrior awards, your legacies, and you got like so if I go by the 2018 class, you got your individuals, your group, celebrity warrior awards, whatever. But I find with the individual one, you have, so the 2018 example is Goldberg, Ivory, Jeff Jarrett, Hillbilly Jim, and Mark Henry. So we look at, if we break those down, so Goldberg is your headline. That's like your the main eventer. Ivory is obviously the women's headliner. Jeff Jarrett is your mid card over actor that had a big influence in that. Hillbilly Jim, that's your old school. That's like your bygone era he helped shape it in the big boom era. And then you got Mark Henry's like the modern day guy. The
Yeah,
modern day, like, okay, he's just retired, but he's worthy of being put in. And you got like the group, he's got the Dudley Boys, and as that's your tag team
mm,
guy as well. And then obviously you might want to put in obviously a stable as well. But I would like to see, maybe that be brought down to your headline, your women's, maybe like a mid card, and then say like a guy from the bygone era to be
I
inducted.
guess obviously as time goes on, the bygone era is gone. Like there can't be
So
many people.
that can ultimately can be whittled
Yeah,
down at some point. And
mm,
then, but you always have to keep that the booking of the modern day guys who you only want in the future to be in the Hall of Fame. So when the Mark Henry at that time was coming to a close, then he can be like, okay, now I'm done and I'm good and I'm done. Whereas, like for example, right now we've got obviously Lashley and McIntyre who are having and with Charlotte Flair who are like having their Hall of Fame careers like right now.
mm.
Like that's obviously the next generation of that we can think about. 5-10 years from now.
Yeah,
So as long as they keep making it relevant and making it special, then there's no reason why you can't. But my answer would be to whittle it down. But my critique is going into it more than once.
yeah, and obviously we're gonna see lots of that now. Obviously, it was a big thing when Flair did it. I think back in 2008 when he or 2009, whenever it was, when he became a double inductee, and then you got the thing of people who are around now, like because obviously people wrestle longer now. There can be a gap, I think, or they have to start inducting people who are still wrestling because obviously Lashley's 44 at the moment, and he's older as an active wrestler than some of the people that got inducted, in the last few years. But he's still going to be wrestling, potentially for 5, maybe even 10 years. He might go part time. I guess as well, you've got people obviously who have gone to AEW, who they'd be interested to see what happens because surely Big Show is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, but is he going to get in while he's working for AEW? And same thing.
I think they've got to be not just done with the competition they work for. They've got to be done and probably removed by a couple of years at least.
Yeah,
I think the money talks here with these scenarios with like Christian Cage, Big Show.
Jericho surely Hall of Famer worthy.
Absolutely. Like he in my opinion, Jericho in my opinion is the headline for a future one.
Mm,
But I think the money right now is just it's like, well you can still just do what he's been doing. It's just kind of like, well, okay, he will take not being in Hall of Fame right this second if it means, well, it's 6 million or 6 million or so a year. Still just doing what he's doing. He's best off taking that and just getting inducted
yeah,
later on down the line. And it goes to show no matter who people are. Look, I think the one name you got to look at is Eric Bischoff. Like if ultimately that can be Hall of Fame worthy, and he can ultimately still walk through the doors. It got to the point where as long as your nose is clean in that respect, there's always a chance to walk back. And it seems to me that the money at this stage of the career is too much for them to turn away. For the
yeah,
sake of being inducted for another few more years, it's something they can't pass up. So it's all right us being a bit selfish in terms of like, no, we know Big Show as he is as we are right now, but then you got to look at look at him for example. Like he is nearing 50, and he can at least still do something. And if it seems like the competition has meant that these people have a new lease. WWE kind of seem to want to wind these people down, and they just really just do not want to go. They just do not want to slow down. Like it's right saying the money, but I was listening to Christian Cage's interview with Renee Paquette, and he expressed quite openly and passionately about like, look, no, I do love this, and the level he maintained despite 7 years out is incredible.
Well, yeah, and also, I guess as well, aside from that, like I think the potential of obviously cinematic matches for people that opens up obviously many more years to their career, which obviously wasn't a possibility before, and obviously mentoring roles, managing, because it's getting very interesting in the sense of the older generation. When you think of people like your Hogans, your DiBiase's, Savage Warrior, etc. Fair enough, some of them did pass away, but they pretty much once they left the business, they went and had careers kind of after that. Not so much Hogan, to be fair. He stayed in the business. But a lot of that generation just disappeared, didn't they? Whereas the generation from the 90s and early 2000s, they want to stay and actively be part of the product for a number of years, which is interesting. But interesting, obviously, what happened, because obviously, as far as we know, what Big Show said, anyways, there's no bad blood between him and Vince. So is it only going to be a case of because he is literally working for AEW that he's going to get in straight away, or because of that's just how it was meant to be anyway? I think for Big Show, if Kane goes in and Big Show doesn't go in within 2 years, it's definitely AEW related. That's how I feel. Because Kane and Big Show, to me, have always kind of gone hand in hand. Like if Kane gets inducted, and I feel that Big Show should be inducted within the next kind of year or two after him because they've got a similar level of achievement, similar level of loyalty to Vince McMahon. Apart from obviously now Big Show's left, but we shall see.
Well, I'm afraid that's all, folks, as we had a problem with the ending of that video. So sorry, but please check out our other content on both our YouTube and Facebook pages. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And don't forget, in WrestleMania week, we're releasing several new videos throughout the week. Please check them out too. Thank you. Goodbye.